Hello students and welcome to EDU360 Online Middle School Curriculum Methods and the Management of Early Adolescence. I am Professor Rook and I am excited to learn alongside you over the next 16 weeks. So in this video, I want to give you an overview of the course in the Blackboard shell. That way you feel comfortable as you log in a couple times each week to complete your assignments. I assume that for some of you, this is your first online class. So I think initially the online classroom can feel a little intimidating just because you feel like there's this transactional distance between the instructor and you. But I want you to rest assured, I am literally a click away. You send me an email, I will get back to you within moments. I'm on my computer quite a bit. I've taken several courses as a student online. I teach several courses online. So I know that the immediacy of reply is very, very important to you. And it's important to me too, because that's our mode of learning and engagement is through my continuing to engage and collaborate with you. And we will do that mostly through the shell, through discussions, but you'll also be listening to some narrated PowerPoints that I do, and I'm try to engage a lot with students through feedback of their assignments that they submit. So I look forward to working with each and every one of you over these next 16 weeks. So when you initially log in, you're going to see the Start Here page, and the first thing you see is our text. This is our primary mode of learning in the course, but we also look at several other articles, and you will be downloading and accessing some reading material from the FES library for free, and I give you instructions on how to do that. But once you look at the welcome message, I'd like you then to go to course information and become acquainted with the course by looking at the course information sheet. So when we pull this up, we get a little description of the course. We see our text and some of the readings that we will access from the library. And then we get to the part that most students care most about, myself included, the course assignments and the grade breakdown. We have 6 main ways through which your grade is computed. Discussions, 15%. Test, there are 3 of them. They're worth about 6.7% each. They are open response essay tests where you get to use your book. So they're open book and you get 2.5 hours to complete them, though they never take that long. I just provide you with that amount of time because I want you to feel assured that time aside, you can produce the best and most comprehensive answer to each question. When there aren't major time limits, I feel that students don't have anxiety and they know that they can perform to their potential. So that's why they're that long, not because you need that much time. Then there's 3 performance assessments, and they are weighted worth the most amount of points because A, they're going to take the most amount of time, but B, they're very meaty in terms of you pulling together all the skills and knowledge that you're learning from the readings and the text. And so I want to award you more points for them because of the merit and the amount of time that they take. Then there's some short written reflections that are about 1.5 pages each. Altogether, those are worth 15% of your grade. You complete an advisory activity, which you may have no idea what that is at this point, which is okay. That occurs much later in the semester. It's not very long, but it accounts for 5% of your grade. It's not very much just because it's not going to take you much time, but it is an important element, and I'm excited for you to learn about it. I think you'll have fun with that project. And then there's 2 case studies. Those can be completed independently or collaboratively, your choice. And I give you full details for that later in the course as well. But those 2 case studies are worth 7.5% each. Let's go back into the course shell to look at the layout again. So we have course information. You can click on faculty information. You'll see a picture of myself, where my office is, my office hours. Please come and see me at any time. I love to chit chat. I have a whole basket of candy because I love sweet tarts, sprees, lemon heads. Feel free to bring me some. But I also like to share candy. So please stop by at any time. And if you ever feel confused or you feel that the instructions within the course aren't ample enough or something about one of the grading rubrics is confusing, just stop by and I'll clarify anything face-to-face with you. After these first 3 tabs, the one that you're going to be accessing the most is the Learning Session folder. When you're in the Learning Session folder, we'll click on Week 1, you see a host of items. The first is a checklist. Now, I am in teacher view right now, so you don't really see a checklist. You just see something that says checklist. So I'm going to switch to student view and go back to learning sessions, week 1. Now I see the checklist because I'm a student view. So we see that this week you have a total of 7 things you need to do. Don't worry, they're not all going to take very long. The first one is let's review the course layout and syllabus, which we are doing now. Once that's completed, you just check it. This is a guide for you. You don't have to check this. It's simply there for you. Then you read some weekly inspiration. I give the first bit of weekly inspiration, but you'll notice one of your assignments this week is to share a story that either you found inspirational from a teacher yourself, or maybe something that you've read in a book or from one of the saints, or a scripture that you know has classroom applications, and perhaps you want to share that to me and to the rest of the class. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what you offer and I'm going to start out each week with a different piece of weekly inspiration, because I think that helps to fill our souls and reminds us why God has placed that call on our heart to be teachers and why we've responded. Then we're going to have a short discussion of let's get acquainted. So you share a little bit about yourself and your licensure area, what you hope to do. Then you'll notice I ask you to read This We Believe framework. That's simply an overview from the American Middle Level Educators Association of why middle school is what it is and the basic standards and philosophy behind it. And then in terms of big real assignments this week, I ask you to read chapter 1 of the middle school student, and then we have a discussion on the principles that you look at in that text. You'll complete that discussion, and then you will upload your little story about something that's inspired you or something that has inspirational applications in the classroom. Now you see everything that I just went through on that checklist present here. When you have a discussion or assignment link, you just click on it. When I click on this, this takes me to the discussion portal. Now there's nothing there yet because nobody's posted. When you want to create your response to the question that I've asked, you just click create thread, type a little title, you type about 2 to 3 paragraphs. So I'm going to show you just in terms of quantity. I'm looking for something about as long as what Kimberly Davis has here. And then when you reply to somebody, you're expected to have 2 responses each week to other classmates' threads. Look at about the length of mine. It shouldn't be any shorter than that. So you need some substantial paragraph, and you notice I reference Bloom's taxonomy. It has to be something that has relevance and is meaty, that it either extends that conversation or adds more meat to it. Sorry, I have a lot of boys and they love meat, so I've said that a couple times. But it adds greater substance to it in terms of a response. So what I would encourage you to do is to look at the rubric section over here, because I give you some thorough guidelines for here's what I'm looking for in terms of your first response to the question, and here's what I'm looking for a follow-up. Basically, if you can pull in the reading material and add more to what they have to extend their learning in your own, then you're great. And I think that you're going to find that this is going to help to cement the material and move it from short-term memory to long-term memory through that continual discussion here. But you only have to post replies to 2 classmates. Or if you want to, you may post a reply to just 1 classmate and end it with a question so that they come back in, answer the question, and then you can continue that conversation again. So all in all, you just need 2 posts. But they have to be substantial and they have to have more content and some depth to them. But I just am showing you this so you get an idea in terms of length for an initial post, and then down here for your follow-up post to other classmates, initial posts. So I'm going to come back here because I just wanted to give you an idea of what a response looks like. I'm going to exit the student preview mode just because I don't have access to all the resources that I would like to. But other than learning sessions, which you will be in multiple times each week because that's where all your material is housed, you can get to the discussion board for those discussions that we will have. We will not have discussions every week. I have taken so many online courses, and I know that as you too are continuing to take probably more online courses, and all instructors use the discussion board, which is a beautiful thing because The discussion board gives every student a voice. If you think about it, in a traditional face-to-face classroom, there are always certain students who engage more in the discussion, and then there's usually a back row of students who don't engage too much. There's no back row in online education. Everybody has a voice and everybody must contribute. So that's a beautiful thing about it. On the other hand, because everybody's always contributing, you can feel a little bit burnout with the discussion board. So there's just 7 discussions total in this class throughout the 16 weeks. They either happen every other week. If there's occasionally a couple that are back to back, but then you have a big break. So that just allows you to refresh and to develop an appreciation again for the discussion board, and that way you don't become too fatigued with any one mode of instruction or learning. Each week I send an initial announcement telling you what we're going to cover that week, even though you're going to see it immediately when you go into that learning session through your checklist. I just want you to know I'm always here, and I want the communication to be very thorough and often. So I do that at the beginning of each week, and then I end each week with a little follow-up or recap of what we've learned and then what we're looking forward to. Those will go straight to your email, but you can also access them through View Announcements. When you want to check your grades, you just click on View Grades. I update the grades every week, and you will see a list of all your assignments and then the grade. I grade everything out of 100, but remember it's weighted based on those percents. So your overall grade is not the total, it's the weighted total, because that's going to be weighted by those percentages. So that's where you check your grades. You'll notice that under course resources, the bigger assignments, those case studies, performance-based projects, and advisory activity are located out here. They also come up in the weeks where they're initially assigned. They're out here because you get multiple weeks to do them, and I wanted you to be able to access the materials that go with them easily. So you can access them here or in the folders in which they will be initially assigned. You do know from the get-go all of the assignments and when they're going to occur, because back under course information, you have a beautiful course calendar that you can print right here, and it tells you everything that's due and when it's due. So I would encourage you to do that, to print it and to cross things off as we go. That way you can keep track of everything. That's going to be like your Bible, your lifeline in this course for knowing when things are going to occur. And because you do have access to case studies, performance-based projects, and advisory activity in advance, you can start those early. It's another beautiful thing about online education, that it does provide you with a lot more flexibility. Rubrics. Since this is an online class and since it's education, we love to have our expectations readily apparent. We love to be transparent. So you will see that I have a rubric for all the major assignments in this class in terms of how they will be assessed. So before you take the first essay question test, check out the rubric there so you know how you will be graded. Before you submit your first response to the first discussion question, check out the rubric here. For the case studies, for the interdisciplinary project that we get to, that's under performance-based projects, you have a rubric for that, and then for the advisory project. But guess what? Those rubrics aren't just here. They're also going to be available under each of these. I have the grading rubric under case studies, also under performance-based projects, the rubrics are available, and under advisory activity again. There's multiple ways to access all these different items. I just want to let you know that nothing is buried so that it's difficult to find. There's several things that are out on this sidebar because A, they're very important, and B, you might be assigned and have a full month to complete, like the performance-based projects, for instance, and I don't want you to have to dig inside any one folder to find the rubric, so that's why they're available out there. But that is everything. If you ever need to get in touch with me, try email. I am on my computer constantly because I teach online. So I check it many, many times a day, and I try to get back with students as quickly as I can. But remember, you can also come and see me in my office, and if my hours don't work, we can always set up another time. But I'm excited to learn alongside you. Thank you again for answering the call that God's placed on your heart to be a teacher, and know that I'm praying for you throughout the semester, and I wish you well. God bless.